I think he's in for a big, big year. The only thing about him is the turnovers. Like right now in preseason, he's averaging 4.5 a game. He's not going to have the ball in his hands, obviously, in the regular season that much. That's why they got Chris Paul. That's why they got Steph Curry. That's why they got Draymond Green.
You are watching Unpopular Opinion.
What's up, everybody? This is your boy AB, and you are now listening to the Unpopular Opinion Sports Podcast. I am your host. I already said it, AB.
And it's your boy Pat.
And we got another special episode on the way for y'all, man. I can't wait, man. This is gonna be a good episode. It's gonna be good. I don't like this jersey. I don't like this. I lost a bet. We're gonna talk about that in a minute.
Hold on, show the whole jersey. Make sure the people see who that is. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I don't. What is this? Anyway. So let's go ahead and get into it, man. We're going to talk about the WNBA Finals. Game 4, they wrapped it up. The Aces won 70-69. Their second title in 2 seasons, back-to-back champions. And then we're going to talk about what NBA players we think are going to have big seasons this year. Some sleeper players who we think, you should pay attention to and watch and, probably going to have a big year this year. So let's go ahead and jump into it, Pap. So, like I said before, the Aces just won their second championship back-to-back. They won 70-69, a very tight game against the New York Liberty. Tell me what you thought about that game.
What did I tell you? Aja Wilson is hungry. They snubbed her out of this MVP and gave it to Breonna Stewart, and they had the luxury of matching up against each other. And who showed to be the bigger dog? If anything, Jonquel Jones was the best performer on the New York Liberty.
Not that last game.
The last game, I feel like they had kind of given up at that point. Like, I don't know. They all had a kind of off game. Because, if we talking about the last game.
6 points.
Breonna Stewart shot like 19% in the last game.
Yeah, she was terrible.
You know what I'm saying? 10 points, her worst total of the postseason. But she didn't come to play this postseason very well. She just... Her postseason was extremely mildew. Like, I was not a fan of what she's been able to do. And to be named the MVP, she had a Joel Embiid style post-MVP situation. Yeah, mm-hmm. So, it was only right that the Aces won this series because they did come out to play well. Chelsea Plum had an amazing series. Jackie Young had an amazing series. Chelsea Gray had an amazing series. Aja Wilson, like I told you, almost had her season numbers. She had double-digit rebounds at almost 12.5, and she had just over 21 points, just on her season average of 23. Mm-hmm. So she played a great game. In the NBA Finals, she came and dogged out. If you look at the tape, they just wanted it more. The Aces wanted it more. They came, and they got the job done, and they go home back-to-back champions, which is why you're sitting here today in this lovely, beautiful jersey.
We did make that bet that if the Aces won, I would have to wear this jersey, so I honor my bets.
Mind you, I also called info.
He did call in for it. So I give you your props on that. You did call that. But I'm going to say this about Game 4, man. The Liberty just dropped the ball. They just really didn't come to play like you said. They looked like they were on fire that first half. First half came out nice. Stoked it up to a 9-point lead going into the half. They had it up 12 at a certain point. They try to knock it down a little bit. They go into the half at 9. I felt confident at that point watching the game. I'm like, the Liberty can bring this home. Watching that third quarter, they could not bring it home. The third quarter, man, they got outscored, I think, by 12 points, 11 points. Let me make sure I'm right on this. They got outscored in the third quarter by 23-12, 11 points. Like I said, you can't do that, man. You can't get outscored in the quarter 23-12, and they just went cold. They couldn't make nothing. Breonna Stewart only had 4 points in the third quarter. Jonquel Jones had 0 points in the third quarter. That's a former MVP, and she was 0 for 1 that quarter. And she played the entire quarter, I believe. So if you got your star players, you got to let them dominate. You got to let them be the aggressor. And I felt like the coach didn't do a good job of putting the ball in the hands of her best players. Sabrina tried to save them, she had moments, really key moments where she hit big threes. I thought she played really well for such a young player to play in those tight-knit, high-pressure moments. And she showed up. You know what I'm saying? She hit some really big shots. So Sabrina, I feel like she did her thing. Lainey, she played really well, too. She had 15 points on the night, 4 assists. You got to shout her out because she also was playing probably the best perimeter defense than any player. She had the tough task of guarding Asia sometimes. And, you know, obviously Asia was just cooking, man. She was going crazy. That third quarter that I'm talking about, she had 9 points and 6 rebounds. I mean, she was just dominating. Off the dribble, she could not be stopped. Jonquel tried, but Asia was just hitting that mid-range. She got really good footwork, and once she gets to her spot and she rises up, there's really nothing you can do. She's the only woman in WNBA history to have 200 points and 100 rebounds in a playoff series, like in a playoff run. So she's doing historic stuff as a player already, a 2-time champion. The Aces have a bright future. Jackie Young, I got to shout her out too because she balled in the fourth quarter. She went crazy. She had 11 points in the second half, 16 points on the night with 7 assists. You know, they have players that all could have, you know, gotten an award if they could be the best player on other teams. Kelsey could be the best player on other teams. Kelsey Plum. Jackie Young could be the best player on other teams. Like, they just are loaded with talent. And they didn't have Chelsea Gray, Candace Parker, or Kia Stokes. So they're just loaded. So let's go ahead and go into the second topic of the day. What players do you think is going to have a big year? We transition into NBA now. What players do you think are going to have a big year this year?
So a couple of different players I do see having a pretty good year this year. I mean, of course, I'm going to start out with my Phoenix Suns. Bradley Beal's going to have a great year. Yeah. I see him being in possible MVP conversations later in the year because you got to think, you have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant on that team. Bradley Beal averaged over 30 points per game in multiple seasons in Washington as the number 1 scoring option. He now has the third best defender is going to be guarding him on teams. Do you know the chop and screw that comes in a situation like that? So I'm going to just let y'all play with that, okay? Let your minds wonder how they want because that's not what I have to really go in depth about. I mean, of course, Chet Holmgren. This is his first year actually coming and playing, and he looked really well in the preseason. He's looking like that threat where he stretches the floor well as a big. So I see him and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander having a lot of success with the pick and pop as well as the pick and roll. Because with him being a shooter and also with the length that he has and being able to rise and get to the rim, he's going to be able to do the pick and roll and the pick and pop as well as create for himself a little bit. And he's an extremely amazing shot blocker. So he's going to change a lot of teams around. For this last one, I want to let you know about a combo. The Orlando Magic have an amazing combo. Shout out Paolo from the Duke Blue Devils, homegrown right here in Durham, North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? Him and Franz Wagner, their other guards, are going to have an amazing year. I mean, at 6'9", Wagner's a very versatile player. He can create offense for his other teammates. He can stretch the floor. He attacks the basket well. I mean, like, he can create his own shot off the dribble. Like, you don't see many guys at that size being able to do the stuff that he does. He has an amazing skill set. And Paolo, I mean, we saw the reigning rookie of the year right now. Paolo has immense potential coming into this year. I mean, the kid averaged, 20 points per game almost last year? He averaged 20 points per game to the point on 43% shooting, 30% from 3. He had 14 double-doubles in 72 games. He's only going to get better. So when you look at things like that, and I mean, Franz Wagner's only been there for 2 years, and he's only taking 14 shots a game, and he averaged 18.6 last year. If you give that man closer to 20 shots, he's a 25 point per game scorer, and that's what you need. You need him to take that next step and dominate just a little bit more. So I feel like if they get more comfortable in their game, and since they've played together a little bit more and those other pieces they have around them are going to fit in, but you have to run your team through those two guys, I see the Orlando Magic possibly making a play-in game and potentially even winning.
I think they got to step it up defensively. They do have the talent. They're starting to pick up a lot more talent, but I don't know how they're going to defend. That's my only worry about the Magic. I got a few players in mind, too. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so first, I got more popular ones. You name some some sub players that people don't really know about
Unpopular
too much.
opinion, man.
Hey, I appreciate that, but I'm gonna name some of the popular ones here that people aren't talking about or may be talking about. So number one, I'm gonna go Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero, I think he's in for a big year this year. He's leading the league right now in preseason scoring at 26 a game. He had his most recent year at 20 a game before he broke his hand, and I think he's gonna have a lot more freedom in the offense with Miami. They're gonna need him. You know what I'm saying? Because Jimmy is really the only player on their team that could take people off the dribble. They have not Gabe Vincent. What's the other? Max Strus.
Mm-hmm.
Max Strus, but
He's
Max Strus
gone.
more of a shooter. You know? Oh yeah, he's going too, right? Yeah.
Yep.
So they don't really have too many players that can take players off the dribble on the perimeter. And I think Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler, those two are gonna have to carry that load and do that. And they're gonna need the scoring. You know what I'm saying? Obviously in Miami they preach defense and they're going to defend. But they definitely need that elite scorer, that player that can take people off the dribble, step back threes, all of that. I think Tyler Hero is in for a big year. I think he's going to average maybe 24 this year. His numbers will go from about 20 to 24 this year. I think he's in for a pretty good year. Sub all-star level player, maybe all-star. I don't know. Probably not because, I don't know, NBA loaded with talent right now. Next, I'm going to go Jonathan Kuminga. I mentioned him on the previous podcast. I think he's in for a big year. The only thing about him is the turnovers. Like right now in preseason, he's averaging 4.5 a game. He's not going to have the ball in his hands, obviously, in the regular season that much. That's why they got Chris Paul. That's why they got Steph Curry. That's why they got Draymond Green. Draymond Green's doing a really good job of rehabbing right now. They're saying the high ankle sprain is healing up well. So he should be ready, for, if not opening night, really soon after. So they're going to have their full squad, and they're looking good. You know what I'm saying? They're looking really good right now. So we're going to see how they're going to look come, when it's time. And that pickup of Sarge, I think that was a sleeper pickup, and I think that was a really good pickup for them, too.
Nice stretch big.
Stretch big. Desmond Bane. Got to shout out Desmond Bane because, people not really talking about Memphis right now, you know what I'm saying, for good reason with what Josh going on, what's going on with him. But missing 25 games, I think Desmond Bane's going to step right into that role of being that elite scorer or being that leading scorer that they need. They're going to need scoring, you know what I mean? They have a lot of talent too, especially off the bench. They have people that can come in and fill it up on the scoring end. But I think, Desmond Bane, his numbers are going to go up a lot too. I think he might average 24 this year too. Even when Ja comes back, because he's a really good shooter, high level 3-point scoring. He's one of the best 3-point shooters in the league, averaging 5 rebounds and giving you about 5 assists as well. So I think that Desmond Bane is that player that people need to pay attention to. His shot's so ugly. He got one of the ugliest shooting forms that I've ever seen, but that thing be dropping.
Because he got little arms. He got the T-Rex arms, man.
Dinosaur
my man
arms.
swole, but they just short.
And all right, so and then my last player, man. Pool party. I think Jordan Poole gonna go crazy this year, man. Everybody has been saying that. That's not an unpopular take, but I'm gonna give it to y'all. Jordan Poole, man. I think he's definitely in for a big year. Everybody's saying the jacuzzi and the pool party, something like that. Some nickname they giving Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole, but I definitely think those two players are gonna go crazy offensively this year. I don't know how Washington's gonna do record-wise. I don't know. I don't see them winning too many games, but I do see. I think they probably win 30, 35.
So you think Dylan Brooks leading the Rockets is gonna do better than Cruise Control? Shout out my boy Snack for that name.
Cruise Control. And
Jordan Poole in Washington.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Because not only is the talent there in Houston, but the coaching. Ime Udoka. I'm a believer in Ime Udoka, and Ime preaches defense, what Washington won't have this year. So I think even though, and Dylan Brooks is a really good defensive player. He's known for his defense, so they won't be. The coach is preaching something that he already does. So he's not one to shy away from defense or getting down and dirty. He's gonna do that. And then Jalen Green's gonna take a step. Jabari's gonna take a step. I'm a believer in Houston, man. I do think they're gonna win 45 games.
I'm gonna go ahead and give you this. I don't see the 45, but what I will say is, with the addition of Fred VanVleet and Amin Thompson, going with Dylan Brooks and the next step forward for Jalen Green and Jabari Smith, I do see that team doing pretty decent. Because Jalen Green's big issue has been turnovers and bad shot selection, but Fred VanVleet's going to be the main one bringing the ball up court this year, so that's going to take some of that pressure off of him. And Amen Thompson, like you said, plays great defense, which Ime Udoka preaches. Like, his last year in the G League, he averaged 2.3 steals a game. He's a great all-around player, 6'7" guard. You know what I'm saying? That's what you want from a guy like that.
Them boys going to run. Mm-hmm. Like, them boys going to run, and they a super young team. So, when you talk about getting late into the season, those guys still gonna have them legs. They still gonna have that energy, and you should get a second win.
Not if they only won 17 games at that point.
Nah, that ain't happening. Houston, they got so much talent, man. I'm definitely a believer in Houston, but I think that is all I had. I think that was the last player I had.
I do have one honorable mention I want to say.
Oh, go ahead. Who?
Jaden McDaniels. He got hurt in the playoffs last year. But
from T-Wolves?
Yes.
Okay.
Jaden McDaniels, I don't see him having a great offensive year by any means, but he's a decent offensive threat, but he's amazing on the defensive end. He can lock up some of the greatest offensive guys in the league. Like, I mean, he can slow down the likes of like a Jason Tatum and stuff because he's a tall guy. He's long. He's got quick hands. His instincts are really good, and he knows where to be. Like, he knows where the ball is going. He does a good job of being where the ball is going, and he can beat you to the spot. If you can beat a guy to the spot in the NBA, you can be a great defensive player, and that's what a team like the T-Wolves need. They need a great perimeter defender because they have Anthony Edwards and Cat to make those offensive points. So, I mean, they're going to be all right.
And I love watching defense in the NBA. I don't know about anybody else, but I love somebody that can really lock somebody down on the defensive end, especially on the perimeter, because it seems like guys don't really try that hard, especially in the regular season. So, I love seeing guys who really take pride in locking up and playing defense. Like, Pat Bev can be annoying, but I love that he actually tries. Like, he gives maximum effort on the defensive end. I'm going to give my honorable mention. I'm glad you mentioned the T-Wolves because this is another popular one, but Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards in for a big year this year. He might average close to 30. Like, I can really see that for Anthony Edwards.
I see him getting almost 30.
Yeah, like 29, 28, something like that. He's going to go stupid this year. And he's going to give people fits. Like, I don't think he's getting into that category where it's like, yo, I can't guard this dude. Like, even coaching, like, I don't think they're going to be able to scheme something to where they can try to double team him and stuff like that, but Ant is getting so skilled that it's like it don't even matter. And he's getting better passing out of double teams and things like that. Team USA run, I think that's going to help him a lot. That will help him a lot from what he did from that run. And just the last season he had, you could tell he was upset how they lost in the playoffs last year. He genuinely cares about winning, you know what I'm saying? And I need Cat to bring that same energy. Like, that's what's going
to set their success or failure.
Yeah.
Whether or not Cat can reach what he needs to reach.
So, Cat, that's a call out to you, man. Come on, like, you got to give him something. Like, stop shooting all them damn threes, too. But we about to get up out of here, man. That's going to be it for us today. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Comment, like, subscribe on the YouTube channel. Yeah. And, yeah, man, we're going to keep it rocking. We got another episode on the way. So, you know how we do.
Be on the lookout, baby.
You know how we do. We out of here.
Tell Vegas how they should come into this parade and the energy level and where it's going to be at.
You have to take 4 shots. Children take shots of ginger ale, but you got to take 4 shots before you pull up to the parade and drink responsibly. But in order to... Last year I said 4 shots, but this year we going 8.